No matter how much research you do or how many videos you watch, there are still gonna be some things that you won't know until you move to the city, or that you would have just wished you've known before you decided to move to a certain place. Which is why today, I'm gonna talk about 10 things that I wish I knew before I moved to Houston. I'm Michael Hugley with the Braden Real Estate Group, and let's get straight into it. We're not gonna waste no time. So the first thing I would say is the daily commute. Now for me, it's different because I'm a realtor. So oftentimes I'm driving all over the city showing homes. So I don't have a set commute unless I'm gonna be going to my brokerage's office. Now, for anybody else, I definitely recommend looking at how far it is from your job that you plan on living, because with or without the toll rolls, like it can be a massive difference in the commuting time. But then also a lot of people like to live in like the west or the southwest areas, so those freeways can get kind of crazy. So you definitely want to make sure that you're looking at that. A lot of those places out in the suburbs are 30 minutes without traffic. So during rush hour and all the traffic times, things can just get really crazy. Number two, it seems like everything here in Houston is at least 15 minutes away. At least for me, I live by the Galleria, which I would say is a pretty central location. I'm 30 minutes away from basically all of the suburbs here in Houston, and it still seems like things are always 15 minutes away from me, like Kroger, H-E-B, all of those other things are all within that 15-minute range. Just even other places that I like to go tend to be at least 15 minutes away. So that's something that you can expect here in Houston. But that goes into the third point, which is that you will definitely put miles on your car here because the city is just so spread out. Like you're gonna be driving. You can drive an hour and you can still be in Houston. So you would definitely put a lot of miles on your car. So just make sure that you keep that in mind. But number four, the streets out here are just tore up. I'm talking about toe up from the flow up. Like the potholes are so bad sometimes that you may hit one of those potholes and it's the one that just makes you turn your music off. Like you ride home in silence for the rest of the ride because the pothole was so bad. I don't know how many times I've been driving, especially like around the Galleria area on Richmond. Oh my God, the roads are so bad. So just beware of that. I hope y'all got some good tires, and just make sure that you're not driving a little bit too fast and crazy, because when you hit that pothole, you will definitely feel it whether your music is playing or not. You'll definitely hear it whether your music is playing or not. Number five, when you are going out, or pretty much when you're going anywhere, you're probably gonna have to pay for parking. Especially as it relates to like going out with a nightlife and just going out in general, a lot of these places will require you to pay for parking. And most of the time it's around like $20 and up, depending on where it is that you're going. I know a lot of the places that are kind of close to the downtown, in some of the other areas, they're about $20 plus. So you will have to pay for parking when you're going out, so just make sure that you take that into account, and beware that if you try and get around this and just kind of park somewhere like in the neighborhood or across the street, like there's a high possibility that you could be towed. There's a high possibility that your car could get towed. So you definitely want to make sure that you are taking that into consideration. If you are going to be close enough, sometimes what I like to do is compare what I know, like this place is gonna have $20 for parking, when I can just Uber there for less than that. So that's something to keep in mind as well, because if you're going to pay $20 to park, I might as well Uber if it's gonna be cheaper and not drive. The next thing I want to say is the toll roads. There are just a ton of toll roads here in Houston. I talked about this in one of my previous videos, the pros and cons video, but here in Houston, they just have all these toll roads everywhere. So one, you need to make sure that you're paying attention to what it is that you're hopping on. I remember when I first moved here, I got on one of the freeways thinking it was a normal freeway, and it was actually a toll road. And I was stuck on the toll road for a little while because I didn't have nowhere else to go. Like it didn't have any exits for a couple stops. So it ended up diverting me a large way, and I had to, of course, pay the tolls, which wasn't too bad. But if you're continuously doing that, they will definitely rack up. So make sure that if you're gonna take the toll roads, you get the easy tolls. But you can also go in your settings on your phone and you can turn off you can turn on in your GPS settings to avoid tolls, so that when you're trying to go anywhere, you always make sure that you avoid the toll roads. Next point I want to make is that the summers are hot. hot and humid. I'm talking about it just, you step outside and it feels like the heat is on, like you're in a sauna. You will not at any point not be running your AC in your house, in your car, like whatever it is. It is just very hot here. It's hot and it's sticky. So just make sure that that's something that you take into consideration. The next thing I want to say is the bugs. Like they say everything is bigger in Texas, and that includes the bugs. They got all types of critters and crawlers, and they got mosquitoes, roaches that fly. Like it's just crazy here in Texas as it relates to the bugs. So that's something for you to consider as well if you're not like a big bug person. Houston may not be the place for you, but this is definitely a no bug zone. Any bug that comes around me will definitely get squashed and all that. I don't play that. So the next thing I would say is when you are looking for an apartment or really a house too, keep in mind that a vast majority of these places will require you to be making 3 times the rent for income. So if the rent is going to be $1,000 per month, then you'll need to be at least making $3,000 per month for your income. Some places say 2.5 times the rent, but you can expect 3.3 times the rent to be something that is pretty standard here when you're looking for housing. So that is probably the best way that you're able to determine your budget. Look at what your monthly income will be. And the last thing I would say is just, I know everybody wants to not pay so much money for rent, but if you see a place that just has really cheap rent, definitely do more research on it, because sometimes if it looks too good to be true, it is. Or you may see a place that has very cheap rent and it's not in the best area. The inside doesn't look too good. So that's definitely something that you want to be cautious of. So make sure just when you're looking at these places for rent, have a respectable budget. Yeah. Well, that's it, guys. That is 10 things that I wish I knew before I moved to Houston. Hopefully that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down so I can have some good feedback. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think as well. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because new videos are going to be dropping every single week. So until next week, hope you guys have a blessed week. I'm out. Peace.